Hey guys, the shave today is going to be with the Nacet. I may have forgotten to put the dot on there after yesterday's shave, but we're right around 477. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I forgot. So I think we're at 478, but the title and the description in the video is going to be the right answer there. And I will make the Sharpie match up with that because the computer auto increments the blade count for me and helps me not to make mistakes. The other gear is a soap that used to have a big name. It used to be mentioned a lot and kind of revered. P.160, and it's by Razorock. I don't usually like Razorock soaps very much. Their performance, just this kind of slickness, is just not nearly as good as a lot of other soaps out there for what I do. And who knows, maybe they're really good at the slurry lather method, or or other guys who like drier lathers. I think they do better if you like the drier lathers. But in terms of pumping a lot of water and getting a lot of slickness and creaminess all at the same time, like you can with Stirling, Declaration Grooming, Barrister and Man, Summer Break, the Hub City, Seaforth, the new Seaforth. You can just name a ton of soaps out there that have even new ones that have just come out with tremendous bases. And in addition to the Chicago Grooming and Noble Otter, those guys, Mammoth, just terrific. And so all those are superior. And so once I did take advantage of a Razorock sale because Italian Barber is kind of their sales place, right? That's kind of their home turf, ItalianBarber.com. And they had a sale one time where you could get, and it was pretty much the same container, the same size container, type of container, for like $5 a soap. And so I went crazy. And I'm just talking about performance here because some of their scents are pretty nice. Or very enjoyable. They're not super unique or anything in some cases, but they're enjoyable. There's no reason to not to have them. No reason not to like them. And so as I got those in, that was just my take advantage of a sale intrinsic nature that bought those, because once I got them, I realized I'll never use these. I think probably at the time I had about 300 soaps when I got those in. And all of a sudden it hit me, I'm just never going to use these. Because all the ones I mentioned and more, Saponaficio Veracino, Fine Accoutrements, those classic hard pucks, I got a lot of those. I'm just never going to get around to using these, even if they were $1 a piece. I'm just never going to choose them when I have so much of the other. And so sure enough, I haven't used a single one. And so I got to sell them, I guess. I need to find them and sell them. I think I gave one to my kid, my son, to let him play around with it because he liked the scent. I think it was XXX or XX. He really liked the scent of that one, and I let him take it. So anyway, now this one does say Razorock Professional. Is it a different base than some of the others? And this may be a little on the older side. I don't think you can find this on their site for years now. It's a used soap, obviously. And I figure I'd try it out. It is that cherry, that marzipan, almond type scent that you get from Cella and some of the Vito's soaps. And so that's probably part of the reason why a lot of people liked it at some point. But let's just try out the performance of the base. I purchased a big old box of soap, and this was in it. And I thought, hey, this has got a big name, or at least it used to, so let's give it a shot. See, I should have introduced the rest of this stuff. I like to do that in the beginning as a kind of here's what's coming. Let's get to it. Timeless, and this is a titanium handle. I think maybe the cap is a matte stainless steel. And then, of course, we've got the bronze for the base plate here. You can tell by the color. And it's the open comb version, which is I think a 0.75 gap, somewhere around there, 0.7 something, as compared to the 0.3 something gap of the solid bar. I'm a big fan of that bronze razor. In my uses of this so far, I determined that this higher gap and the open comb is a little bit more aggressive than I usually might like. And so I think it's a perfect one to try on the Nacet, which needs something that's more aggressive. Now, does it need something that's way more aggressive than I want? Sometimes. It all depends on the razor and the way it holds the blade, the way the angle of the blade comes into the safety bar area, that sort of thing. That seems to be important. So I figured let's give that a shot today. And then Michael Friedberg gave me a boar brush from Yaqi in our recent lunch meeting. So generous. He gave me this Yaqi lather bowl, inspired by the Pereira bowl, I'm sure. He also gave me that adjustable, which I'm a big fan of this. If I'm not using the Nacet, I'm going to be returning to this razor to show you guys more of it. Very happy with that. It does have the alloy head, and so you don't have the premium lifetime materials there. But for such a low cost to get the kind of shave you do get, the closeness, the smoothness, it's just terrific. It's great. And if you have to buy 1 or 2 or 3 your whole life, it's well worth it, in my opinion. Especially if you kind of have a low budget and you can afford some really nice piece. And then the other thing that I haven't shown you guys yet is this 24 millimeter Yaqi brush. Kind of a Semogue looking handle here. It reminds me of the Semogue brushes, like the 830. And we've got the finest badger knot that Yaqi has. I have used that before in my channel, and I think it's probably going to be similar to that. That brush had that white barber pole-like handle that was really long, and it was so cool that he chose this. He batted 1,000 in terms of the wonderful things he just grabbed up for me. And the way in which this was awesome, and I hope I conveyed it as we met properly, but I bought that Yaqi barber pole handle with the badger brush almost as 2 separate entities. That I love. That ergonomic handle proved to be so comfortable and really enjoyable and really inexpensive, and I bought it on sale. And so I thought, you know what, I'll try out the knot. If I don't like it, I'll yank the knot and I'll still have this great handle. Well, this brush, if I want to keep the knot, it turns out, well, this is probably the same knot, and so if I want to have a Yaqi knot around that's the 2-band, I'll have it in this brush, and then I can feel free to yank the knot from the other handle and repurpose that handle for a knot I might use more. So I do like the grip here. It's not super small like the 830 Semogue, but it's also not big. Probably more suited for a face latherer than a bowl latherer. Because of that shorter handle, I decided not to use that Yaqi bowl here because it does get suds all over my fingers, and I'm going to use my larger bowl, have more room to work around. All right, so let me get some water on my face. And I wanted to mention just one time, this container is used by some different vendors in the shaving industry. The Goodfellas, is it Goodfellas? No, they make Furia. And I can't remember, Goodfellas Smile maybe. I can't remember the exact brand because I don't have a lot of soaps by it. But Furia is the name of it. It's over in Italy. And so who knows, it might have a little bit of Razorock heritage there. But they use this same kind of container. And I do really like the way it is pretty strong. It does feel maybe a little bit flimsy when the pieces are apart, mainly the top cap here. But when you screw it together, I think it's just going to travel well, feels good in the hand. And I always like little containers like that. Just seems to, some of the parts, 2 plus 2 equals 8 when they're all screwed together kind of thing. All right, so let's take this brush. It's been soaking for a while because I haven't used it yet. And I think the way he delivered it to me, I wouldn't be surprised if it was new and hadn't been used. I'm going to shake out a lot of the water. Let's start with a 30-second load because this is a soap that's kind of older, and this is also a stiff brush. If it was a super soft brush, I might go for longer than 30 seconds. I suspect it's a stiff brush. All right, so 30. Got my little counter there, and my the white writing on my shirt is making the numbers hard to read. That's 10 seconds. We might stop at 20. Let's just keep on going for 30. I could probably stop at 20 and be okay, but let's go ahead to 30. You can hear and maybe see now the dripping. And I will use that as a little bit of face wash. So just to be clear, the Razorock soaps that I've used in the past, there's one called Tuscan Oud that I don't think I'll ever sell because I really like the scent. All right, but the other ones that I have tried, they're not slouches. They'll get the job done, and they'll last a while. And so if you do stumble across a sale of those, then by all means, especially if it's $5 a tub or $4 like it was when I found them, grab them up. If you've got a tight wallet, they'll last you a good while and they'll perform reasonably well. And many of them are going to smell good. I can feel the density here in the backbone in the brush as I am pressing down in the bowl. You do get that kind of trademark almond Italian type scent coming up. This is a pro formulation, I would assume, since it has professional on the tub. So maybe it's a superior formulation than the standard. I like the way it's looking right there. We've got the glisten. It's not an airy, it's not bodying up like Chiseled Face tends to do in some of those type soaps. Need to figure out a way to describe that. Maybe it's a case where they were producing this as a pro line. And then maybe sourcing the ingredients was the issue. So they had to take it off of production, And so maybe it's a diamond in the rough. Maybe it is different than the other Razorock soaps. I do like the look of this lather. I really do. That does look different than a lot of the other Razorock soap lathers. That's what's causing me to start making these comments. I think we should probably go ahead and just use it and see what we get. I do like the appearance of this quite a bit. And you can see how the lather is coming into the brush, causing it to widen out. Brush is filling up with the lather. Got my face wet again there during the break. I also blew my nose and coughed a lot. I've got a tickle in my throat. I've had to pause and take a drink about 3 or 4 times already. All right. I do get that backbone. This is more like a bulb shape. It's not the fan shape. And I tended to like the bulb shape in the beginning of my shaving years. I think I've grown to like the fan shape a little better, but it mainly just depends on the brush. I'm definitely getting kind of some scrub with this. The tips are definitely not giving me any kind of gel feeling. Definitely a sense of scrub. And the tips, some firm tips. The creaminess of the lather, however, is probably making the brush feel a little better than it might actually. I like the look of the lather. I think it's doing a good job. I like the appearance of it here on my face, the texture. Looks like it's hydrating very nicely. This may have been a soap I was gonna put on the 2-cell pile, but it's starting to look more like I misjudged it. Dribbled a few drops into the brush. So oh, look at that. The lather's getting more rich. I like it so far. Let's take off some of its excess. Maybe that's just what their Pro line does, you know. Back in the day, whenever this was put out, I probably could add a little bit more water, but I think I'll stop for time's sake. So I think this is used for 78. And behind this are some razors. I just finished looking through my big box of razors to see what I didn't put it in yet. I don't know that I've ever done that. I've got other razors in line behind this one. Some of the that I think are a little more aggressive than I might normally like, and like the Gillette News. I've got some different Gillette New razors, a flat bottom new, a raised flat bottom. There's the markings on the blade. I've got, oh, and this has the little plastic washer too. If you do have two dissimilar metals and you want to store the razor for a while, you may want to go ahead and get one of these little plastic washers. You don't have to use it in the shave, but for storing the razor, the two metals can gall together and become a problem. All right, so titanium, kind of a brushed titanium handle, looks like. So light on the handle, and this is a thick, stocky handle, so I'm kind of glad that it's titanium. Now with the blade in there, let's try it out. A little tugging, but that's all right. Seem to be pretty effective. And then when I go back over areas, I can feel it as a different experience, and so it does seem like it's taken the hair away. When that bronze timeless came out first with the 38 gap, I thought, that's a funny looking thing. The handle was just, to me, it looks like a chunky woman from the 60s or 70s, with some kind of belt around her waist and a skirt that's kind of just, there's probably a name for them, that doesn't really flare out. It just kind of goes straight down, and kind of built like a barrel. It wasn't nearly as beautiful as some of their other handles that they have in their stainless line. But it works really well. And you kind of get used to it. And in style, it kind of matches the blocky nature of the base plate for the bronze. And so then it looked like when they came out with the titanium, they used the same design as the bronze handle. Well, there we go. First pass down. Let me do a rinse. Very happy with the slickness that I got during the rinse there. This may be the only Razorock soap I keep around in my den for performance reasons. I think it may have even had a period where it came in a block. Do we have ingredients? Yeah. The first ingredients here: aqua, stearic acid, coconut oil, tallow acid, potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, and fragrance. That's not a big list. So it appears, does that mean it's a vegan soap? But with coconut oil being kind of high on the list there, it's not behaving like a lot of those coconut oil soaps. Cross grain now. I'm still getting a little bit of tugging here on the second pass. At least on that other side I was. It's not bad over here. I switched the side of the razor, so the one I did over here may have been the side with the bend in the blade. But it's not painful at all. I'll bet the next one is not going to have any of that feeling at all. I'm pretty sure we've done some pretty good cutting work here. How does the slickness feel? Yeah, it's leaving behind a kind of a conditioning feel. It's not a super slow kind of slickness either. Not super fast, but I do like it. It's a kind of a combination type slickness of nourishing and speed. And I don't think it's kind of sacrificing either one. Sometimes you go for nourishing too much and you really slow down the razor. This is not doing that. So, third pass. So if you like a brush with some scrub, good news is this is an inexpensive brush from Yaqi. And you know what badgers do? Eventually, these tips will, we're talking years from now, if you just use the one brush, the tips will soften and kind of go jelly. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of uses to get it to do that, which is why the makers started artificially doing that, making that happen more quickly. All right, so, see, there we go, no tugging at all. This really feels more like a touch-up pass. So this could be a good razor for the Nacet at this point, because it's not as comfortable as some. And so I may try out some others, but it's nice to know I could come back to this one, because I'm pretty sure he's given me a nice shave in terms of closeness. I'm feeling a little bit of kind of slowness due to the lather, but that particular pass wasn't nearly as hydrated as the others, because we're getting down to the end. I could have added some more drops of water to the brush. So yeah, let's do one more kind of touch-up pass just for the fun of it. Scent is not strong on this soap, but it's there, it's traditional, I do like it. Added some more water to the bowl, mixed it up for a little, maybe a minute, two. And this is tremendous. This is good stuff. It's taking a good bit of water. It's holding it nicely. This is really what I look for in a lather. Those two attributes, the slickness. It could be just a little faster, but it's close enough where I'm not going to complain about that. Especially being kind of an old guard kind of soap. Well, today, because of my scratchy throat, I'm actually using the Yaqi bowl. Help keep my throat hydrated. All right, 5th pass. Using that slant technique. You see how that dropped and landed and kind of smeared across my shirt? Shows you the texture. I'm glad I added some water to the lather. It's performing a little better now because of that. Yes, that's a good standby razor, as I'm going to experiment with others, but with this Nacet being where it is right now, it's good to fall back and know that I have some good shaves awaiting with this razor at this age. Now for the aftershave splash. While I did dig through my brushes a little bit and my razors a lot, I picked out some of the ones I want to feature here in the next weeks. I put the ones I don't use very much in the bottom of the stack. I'm getting more sting than I usually do. So it looks like this razor and blade combo did. Maybe cut a little bit more closely than usual, but in a way that's a good thing with this blade. No weepers or anything like that. I don't know. I don't think this cut is good enough. In some areas, it did really well. I don't think this is close enough. It's not going to be good enough if your average guy can't walk into the business and be fine with the shave that I get. That's kind of my criteria. And I think this has a little bit too much of that 5 o'clock shadow. It's in my neck area. I think my cheeks are fine, but my neck area, I think it's just showing too much dark color. It's reasonably closely shaven, but not close enough. So I guess I retract my statement. It does not look like this razor is going to be a good match for the Nacet at this age. And now, cap this little guy up. Happy with this soap. Happy with this lather. Maybe the Pro formulation. It does say special shaving soap. 2014 is what the copyright says. So it's an 8-year-old soap. Are we in 2022 now? There we go. So that explains why I had to really go the 5-pass route to try to get that close enough shave. That explains why I was still feeling stubble after the 3rd pass, is because it just wasn't doing as efficient of a job in this razor. That's 5 passes of lather, 30 seconds of loading, and we've still got 2 or 3 passes left to go. So that was quite a good bit of soap loaded onto the brush. The texture here is tremendous. I like it. I like it. It took a lot of water and it worked. And it worked well. What kind of amount are we talking about? 19 milliliters of water. So that's what we're looking at. I don't want to forget to talk about this brush. It felt softer by the end of the shave. So this may be one that I want to soak for even longer than I did today. Then something jumped into my mind. I have had a 3-band Badger, a silver tip, from Frank Shaving, I believe. Got it off eBay. And they're nice inexpensive silver tips. Not super soft in the tip department, not anything like some of the better silver tip makers, but they're still pretty good. And it was prickly. It was the first silver tip, first 3-band I ever had. It was actually had a prickle feeling to it, but that went away after about 14 uses. And so a Badger, while it's not going to change like a boar brush does, it is going to change a little bit. And so if you do have a little bit of prickle with a certain Badger, keep using it if you like that brush, but you just don't like that extra prickle. And so this guy may smooth out a little bit more with some more use. I enjoyed the handle. With this bowl, my fingers did get a little messy, but not too bad. The ergonomics here of the handle I'm really happy with. And this knot, I believe it's going to be pretty much similar to the other knot that I have. And as you can see, it's gonna open up some more. You'll lose a little bit of that density, and I'm glad about that because it's got a lot of density and backbone due to density right now. So we'll keep using it to see where it lands. So yes, the point here is that Badgers do change a little bit. So if you do get one and it's a little bit harsher than you might like, give it a couple weeks worth of uses and see and watch it change, hopefully a little bit, and it might come down into where you'd be happy with it. In terms of the use of the razor, evaluating it for its own merit there, while it may not have been effectual with this blade, it is a little bit more on the aggressive side than, I'd say maybe it's a 6 out of 7 out of 10 in terms of aggression. And I just usually like the mild end of the spectrum. But it worked very well. Balance was very good. This little waistline they put is a great place to hold it with the kind of core fingers, and then your supplemental fingers can then be the ones that move the razor around. And it worked very well. It is the balance point when everything's assembled is around right here, but that doesn't feel like a head-weighted razor because of course the bronze head is heavier than the titanium here. So that worked very well. I'm glad I have that razor. We'll see. It may be a better razor for a blade that's maybe around 50 uses or something like that. All right. And of course, there may be some younger blades, some newish blades that maybe shave me a little bit more smoothly that might work with this razor. But a lot of the sample ones I tried in it first, just a little bit more blade feel than I wanted. City Slicker went very well with the P.160 with that almond type nature of that. And so that flowed very well together. This did produce a light air of that classic Italian scent around me in a small way. And I think that contributed to the experience. So I've got good things to say about P.160. I'll be keeping that around for sure. And I think we're good. I don't see anything else to do. I'll try to remember to put that Sharpie dot on the card this time. And we'll check the data about it and get it up to date. So thank you so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there's something here to help you out. You have a good night. Take care.